Hi, I'm Sean, and in real life, I look like this.
Hi, and I'm Daniel, and this is me in real life, and together we are Headroom. At Headroom, our mission is to accompany businesses that want to use the power of virtual reality for internal collaboration purposes. We consult on hardware, something like this, and software choices and train their teams to use the technology to best effect. So, why is it a relevant choice for companies today?
The world of work has changed significantly since the start of the pandemic. Employees have discovered the benefits of working from home, and at the same time, employers, desperately looking for qualified people, have expanded their horizons regarding the location of their staff. At the same time, the success of remote work has called into question the need for traveling for business appointments. The pandemic kick-started this, and our climate aims are helping to maintain this trend. The use of virtual reality meetings instead of expensive and damaging flights can be of massive significance. So we believe that with more and more companies attempting to cope with distributed teams, VR can provide the social connection which will otherwise suffer.
And this is why social connections are suffering. We all have seen this, right? Well, this is the alternative. A far more human, natural way to meet colleagues and connect, regardless of physical location. It is truly a massive step forward. With this technology, we can create spaces within spaces where team members can meet, discuss, and be creative. From a small home office, we can move into huge conference centers. And with the technology rapidly advancing, what can be achieved in virtual reality is not only close to physical reality, it actually brings benefits we cannot recreate in the real world. Have a look at the picture. Just two people in the room, the rest already joining virtually the meeting. So it's not such a far way to go.
However, the switch to virtual meetings is not quite as straightforward as we might hope, certainly not yet. Currently, most people who are using the technology are true enthusiasts, people who are keen to use it and are thus willing to put up with a few drawbacks. For the rest of the world, however, this is not necessarily the case. A slight variation on the typical technology adoption curve. For those who are not inherently keen on the new tech, there is a danger that after an initial excitement, the willingness to use it wanes. Headsets tend not to be charged and ready to go. So what's the problem? Well, there are a few hurdles we have to overcome and some misconceptions which need clarifying in order for normal people to make the switch from 2D computing to virtual worlds.
The first point to make is that people really have to adapt to spatial computing in general. Up until now, our interactions with the machine have tended to be via mouse and keyboards, plus in the mobile eras, fingers on the screens. Getting used to the idea of being part of the interface is new and can be challenging. We saw clients when they come the first time into VR, they were standing like this. It really took some time until they understand that they really have a physical presence, that they can move with their body in space. When staff are forced to use this new technology, there's concern that they might not be able to master it, that they will lag behind other, more technical interested colleagues. They worry about getting it wrong and breaking things. Another thing that often leads to disillusionment is the attempt to use VR for the wrong tasks. We see VR very much as a social tool. It shines when collaborative creativity is what is required, when the objective is to connect people.
Where VR is not so great is the use of productivity tools. Simply put, if you want to use a keyboard, then we would recommend you do that on your laptop. There is software out there which allows you to bring in a keyboard, but really, it sucks. It's important to realize that these are not one-size-fits-all devices. We all have differently shaped heads. My eyes are further apart than Daniel's, and our eyes have different strengths. This is tech which is strapped to our faces, which in itself is already really unusual for almost everyone out there. And then we come to the real hard cases, where people actually feel uncomfortable using virtual reality headsets. Encouraging people to use something which makes them feel physically ill is clearly a challenge. What also frequently happens is that employees are simply sent a headset in the post and left to their own devices. It seems pretty plain that X% of these people will struggle to cope.
All is not lost, however. We are here to help. Our objective is to change the shape of the curve we showed you earlier. With the right measures, we can take people onto a path to enjoyable productivity using VR as a social tool. The first thing to enshrine into the minds of the team is that they are part of an elite few who are lucky enough to benefit from this new technology. It should not be seen as something they are being forced to do. This helps to ensure that when the VR meetings come up, they are keen and ready to go. We always start with 2D onboarding sessions to make sure that the headsets are set up in an ideal fashion. And then we proceed to training sessions with the aim of getting everyone up to the same level of competency. We actively encourage users to tweak their headsets, adding accessories which make the usage more comfortable. Two examples are better head straps or crowned individual lenses for people who wear glasses.
One of the ways we increase engagement with the technology is not to be too formalistic in our approach. We're not keen on VR certification or such like. We think that if people have a great experience in VR, they will look forward to coming back for more, and this defines how we run our programs. This is important. If you have one or two people in the team who are proving not keen on the tech, it can put the brakes on the whole team. We actively identify those who seem to be struggling and do separate sessions with them in order to improve their experience and tackle any issues they might be having. We have been using VR for some time for collaborative purposes and have identified which settings work well and which are more difficult. This puts us in a great position to encourage or discourage certain formats. Team Constellation and fishbowl formats, for example, are brilliant in VR.
In order for people to get used to the tech, we encourage frequent use. If you have to reorientate every time you come in, you are wasting precious time. The more often you use it, the easier it gets. Make sure the usage of VR fits in the rest of your schedule and your remote work pipeline. When you look at the screen, for example, here on Tuesday, put VR on the right cases. So, for example, you start with the team meeting workshop intro, and then you go to your preferred video conferencing tool, then you jump back into VR, and then you go back to the video conference. No one wants to spend the whole day in VR, and plenty of work sessions make more sense in 2D. So, planning is key. So, how to deal with those who feel uncomfortable? Again, individual attention is really important. We advise doing short sessions to start with and gradually expanding the time in virtual reality. Most people become accustomed to virtual spaces pretty quickly. Just don't overdo it at the beginning.
So, in conclusion, everything can be solved. What we can report is, collaboration in virtual reality can be an amazing extension to your existing remote work toolset. However, For it to be effective, you need to do it right. Simply posting headsets to employees will result in disappointment. We think it will become a standard tool for a lot of companies going forward. Look forward to seeing you there soon.